Megan. Hello, Gillian. Hey, ladies. Hello, Joe. I'll just wait for everybody to join. Right, let me make sure that we're recording this. We are. I'm just going to bring up the chat. Awesome. So you guys can have your cameras on, you can have your cameras off. I would just say to maybe have your audio off for now. We can do a Q&A at the end, but just so we haven't got background noises going on. But feel free to have your cameras on or off, I don't mind. Hello to everyone that's joining. Just let everyone hop on the call. And let me know where you're beaming in from. Oh, hello, Caroline. Yeah, pop in the chat where you're beaming in from. There are some people who are new to me. I've got lots of members of my membership here tonight as well. So if I don't know you, let me know where you are in the world. I always find it fascinating how I usually have people from all over the place and all over the whole world joining me on these calls, which my mind finds very exciting and fascinating. I'll just give it a couple more minutes before we start. We got somebody from Greenwich. Yes, and Megan. It's like, I'm only a mile away because one of our ladies, Megan, who is an amazing upholsterer, is local to me. And yes, Gillian, you're County Durham. Beck, of course, Beck is my creative assistant who just makes everything happen behind the scenes, is in Pennsylvania. Hope you're doing well today, all of you. I can see lots of people are still joining us, so I will just give it one more minute and then we'll dive in. Make sure that you get yourself something to write with and some paper, because we're actually going to make this interactive. I'm going to give you guys questions that you're going to answer, and we're going to pick a thought that we're going to, and a feeling that we're going to turn around, so that we're actually going to do it live on the call together with me giving you the prompts. So go ahead and make sure you've got something to write with and something to write on, and maybe get yourself a drink, get yourself all settled, phone on silent. I'll give you a minute to just get yourself ready, and then we'll get going. Right, is there any way? Yeah, I'm just gonna move some notes that I've made over there. Make sure that I can see you all over here. Now I've said, get a drink. One of our ladies is privately messaged to say, all she can think of is wine. If you want wine, get a glass of wine. And Joe, you're in Ireland. Wow, I love hearing where everybody is from. If you're just joining now, let me know where you're from. And yeah, we're nearly at 5 past. We'll get going in just a minute. I'm going to keep the chat box open throughout this little workshop. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. And then once I've kind of got through the teach, I will go back to the chat and answer them at the end. And we'll have a bit of a live Q&A at the end if you want to get anything clarified or ask me any questions. So any questions you have during the teach, feel free to park them in the Q&A box, the chat box, so that you don't forget them, basically. And if you're not sure where the chat box is, there should be somewhere on your screen, it should say the word chat, and it will bring up the chat box for you. All right. Okie dokie, have we all got something to write with, something to write on? And are we all settled and ready? Let me know in the chat if you're all set up, ready to go. And hello, I can see, oh, Karen, you've just joined us. Hey, Karen. Hope you're having a good day. I was just saying to the ladies, just make sure that you have got something to write on and something to write with, because we're going to do this in an interactive way. I'm going to get you to actually go through the technique that I use live whilst I teach you to it, so that you've actually experienced doing it, so you're not just left trying to do it for the first time on your own. I want to be here with you whilst you do it for the first time. Caroline's all set. Joe's all ready. Fantastic. Make sure that I can see my notes in case I need them. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get started. So I have created, oh, let me just check. I know that I'm recording this, but because once I forgot to record a call, I'm just double checking here because my brain is already going. It looks different. We're already recording here, we're fine. Right, so I have created this workshop for you to be able to manage your emotions during this, crazy time that we're living in, that it's so unfamiliar and strange to us all. I was thinking, what is the one thing that I can do to help you guys the most? I have a huge toolbox full of tools. And I was thinking, you know what I'm really using a lot at the moment? It's my tool that I use in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, it's the thing that I go to the most out of everything. So I thought, well, if this is the thing that I'm using the most, it is probably the thing that you guys need the most. Because I do all sorts. I'm an artist, I'm a creative coach, and I'm a happiness expert. I also have a top 20 podcast in the UK iTunes charts in the self-improvement category called Happy Hacks. I'm also a writer. I have a column in, in Psychologies magazine. I'm a columnist for Psychology, so I talk about happy hacks in there as well. And I also, if you're not familiar with my work, there's two main things that I do. I coach clients one-to-one, generally creative women, and I'm teaching them how to do what they love and all the various components that are involved in that. And then I also have a private online community, a membership, where I group coach, again, the same kind of women on the same kind of things. And there are three parts really I've found to doing what you love, and we're going to be looking at one of them today. The three parts that I teach, just so you know kind of where I'm coming from and what angle I'm coming at, is that I teach people how to connect with their authentic creativity, the creativity that is in here, how to connect to your purpose, how to know what to do with your life so that you can step into your true potential. And then the other thing that I do is then within that is how to master your mindset. And then once we've connected to our creativity and we're creating authentic work that is really what I feel is kind of in here waiting to come out, then you need the Instagram bit, the bit which teaches you how to actually monetize what you're doing and get people to know that you exist. However, none of that is hugely useful unless you're also addressing your mindset at the same time, because it's fine knowing what to do, but if you've got a voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, or your thoughts are spiraling out of control every day with worry, anxiety, concerns, suffering, dread is quite a big one. I still, after a good 10 years of doing a job that I hated, it is still an inherent pattern in me to wake up in the morning and quickly scan, have I got anything to dread today? Let me know in the comments, in the chat box, do you do that? Like, what is your thing that you do in the morning? Mine is, oh God, is there anything I have to dread? And I still get a shock when I realize, oh yeah, I do what I love now. There isn't any terrible meetings. There isn't some awful deadline for something that I don't really know how to do and I don't want to do. So let me know when you find yourself waking up in the morning, because this is what we're going to be addressing here today. We're going to be addressing that thing that you feel like. So let me know in the chat box, what is the thing that you feel when you wake up in the morning that isn't good? Because like we all, feel good a lot of the time too. Or hopefully you do, and if you don't worry, I'll teach you how. But there is going to be a lot of waking up and trying to avoid a thought, avoid thinking about something, avoid knowing something's coming. There's going to often be with people a feeling of pressure, of waking up and going, oh my gosh, I've got to deal with that now, and I really don't want to, and this is coming, or this person is going to be someone that I have to deal with today, and I don't want to deal with them because they scare me, or they just cause me so much anxiety by the way they behave and the way I don't know how to deal with that I feel awful. So you've got the kind of idea. Let me know in the chat box right now what kind of negative emotions you feel when you wake up in the morning. I'll give you a second to pop those in the chat. Okay, so we've got coping with noise and demands first thing. I'm not a morning person. Brilliant. So what is the feeling that creates? Let me know a feeling. And we've got dread of leaving my warm, comfy bed. I'm semi-retired and an insomniac. Wow, yeah, absolutely. You are going to have that every single day to deal with. And if you don't have the tools to be able to instantly turn that round from a disempowering thought and feeling to an empowering one, then that is going to zap your energy every single day. So yeah, keep these coming, guys. I'm just going to clean my glasses because I've noticed as I'm reading these, I seem to be looking through some kind of cloud. I must have, in the attempt not to touch my face, I'm probably touching my glasses. So keep letting me know, what is the feeling, the most common negative feeling you have when you wake up in the morning? Right, how is that? Okay, I often wake up with a feeling of dread. Yeah, dread is really, really common. Financial worries, a constant script of what am I going to do? Like, we can all, I'm sure, empathize with that, and we all at times feel that. Some of us feel that every single day, and we can all acknowledge that feeling like that the moment you wake up, and having that as a low grade background feeling, that a program that is kind of just all like software that is just running all the time in the background, is going to constantly zap you of energy. And if you don't have your energy and your clarity of mind, which you only get from feeling okay, then you're going to constantly struggle to make decisions and to feel okay. And if you're struggling to feel okay and make decisions, then it's obvious that you're going to struggle. And there are tools that can help with this, and I'm just so excited to be talking about this. Okay, we've got another one, demands of 3 children and getting frustrated with them. So we've got waking up and feeling pretty quickly, pretty triggered into frustration. Instant, like with me and Caroline, feeling dread when you wake up, more dread about insomniac, warm, comfy bed. Oh, I know that feeling. We've got another one come in, waking up with limited energy, knowing that I won't have enough to survive the day. Oh, having also been through a chronic pain journey myself, and I have an autoimmune disease, which thankfully we're getting it under control. I also empathize with that enormously, because when it was absolutely out of control, yeah, I would wake up already feeling like it's bedtime. I've got nothing. I've got absolutely nothing. And that is really hard. And whilst we cannot change our circumstances, having an autoimmune disease is a fact. It's just a fact. We can change how we think about our circumstances. And this is the key thing that we're going to be diving into today. And we've got another answer. Am I going to be able to get everything done today that needs to be done? Yeah, I suffer with that one. That is a thought I have to manage literally on, I'd say, an almost daily basis. I probably have that thought about 5 days in every 7 of how am I going to get everything done. And it is really interesting how I've discovered it's actually a lie I tell myself. So let's jump into that now, because I might not remember to circle back to it. That's a really interesting one, because we all seem to live in this culture of we haven't got enough time. And we all have the same amount of time every day, and we've all, had a go at our day every day, and we still feel like we don't have enough time. But what I have discovered is that I often have been also lying to myself about how much is actually physically possible to fit in a day, and also what is actually necessary to fit in a day. So when I had the thought that I have to do all these things, and then I created that feeling of I can't do all of these things, I feel awful, that would then create the action of me being overwhelmed and really just spinning in a circle and procrastinating. And my result was, yeah, I reinforced that thought that I can't get everything done, and I wouldn't get everything done. Whereas when I looked at it differently and I really challenged it, and this is what we're going to be doing in a moment, I thought, right, my thinking is I do not have enough time to do all the things. And I challenged that thought with, okay, is that true? Then I thought, well, actually, if I go on a real good fact sort of hunt here, fact-finding hunt, I realized that actually I'm trying to do too many things. I'm trying to do things that aren't absolutely necessary. And my perception of what is possible to fit in a day is wholly, like completely and utterly wrong. When I actually, the number of times I look at everything and I think, why on earth did I put that pressure on myself? Why did I think it was possible? So when I realized that I was kind of telling myself a fib about what was possible to fit in a day and what was necessary, and I got rid of the things that were absolutely not necessary. So this does mean that you have to compromise. You have to get some perspective going on around what is possible and what truly matters, and just allow that you cannot be perfect in every area. Then the truth becomes, I actually only really need to take care of these things. I'm aware and I acknowledge I want to do all of these things, but I accept it's not possible. The truth is, I need to do these things. The truth is, I've got time to do these things. The fact is, everything is okay. I can do these things. And then, of course, you feel completely differently. So you don't procrastinate. You just go, I'm only asking myself to do what is sensible and possible and what is my absolute priority. And I've accepted I'm going to let everything else go. How do you feel then? Well, then you feel empowered, you feel calm, you feel steady. What's your action going to be? Well, you're going to just go ahead and do the things that you've decided. What's your result going to be? You're going to get done whatever was your priority, and you're going to stop telling yourself this constant thought of, I haven't got time, and being in a panic mode. So this is what we're going to be walking you through in a minute. I can just see there's been another comment. So waking up feeling pressure and overwhelmed of the things that I have to do and that I'm avoiding. And underneath fear, I'm dyslexic, so reading other people's writing I sometimes struggle with. And underneath is fear that I should do things that I love to do and I will avoid, like always, and feel ashamed already. Nothing is simple with me. Yeah, I have 100% been there with thinking I should be doing the things that I love. But I'm avoiding those things because I'm telling myself a story I should be doing these other things. And now I feel ashamed of the fact that I'm not getting this right. And then therefore you feel pressure. Oh, dyslexic too. Yay for the dyslexics. It's just a thing. I find it so much more empowering just to tell people I'm dyslexic. I'm going to stumble over my words. I'm going to sometimes struggle to read things out, and just know that everybody gets it and it's fine. So yeah, I totally get that one too. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. So yeah, I told you that we're going to practice this live. And I just wanted to share for the people that don't know me, basically my goal in life is to pass on these tools that have totally transformed my life to women who are seeking solutions to feel better. You see, the trick I have found with this is that you literally have to get to the point where you are unwilling to live the way that you're living for a moment longer. You have to get to that point, because when I look back on my life, I can see I had many times I had the opportunities to learn tools like these, but I just wasn't ready. So for people today, there will be some of you that will take this on, and because you are looking for tools, and you will be in that headspace I was in when I learned these things of like, I will do anything to feel better. But then there's a really interesting separate scenario, which is where we get so attached to our pain, we identify with it so much. We have this total identification with our own suffering and our pain, and we end up almost in a victim cycle where we're actually not ready to let go of that pain, because it is so associated with who we are that we almost have told ourselves a story that there is no other way, and we're quite resistant to people telling us that there's another way. So if you find yourself in that situation, I just want to preempt, don't blame yourself or beat yourself up. It seemed like I had to learn the hard way, as most people do. I had to get to the point where I couldn't walk for 9 months before I finally went, right, that is it. I am sick of you know, feeling like I have no life, I am going to get my life back, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to turn over every stone until I have the answers to getting my health back, and even if I hadn't have got it back, I haven't got it fully back at the moment, I've just got it back a lot. It was just, I'm not going to stop till I've tried everything possible. So I just want to preempt that with you. Don't beat yourself up if you get to the end of this and it just doesn't feel like something you can do right now. You know, it took me 15 years of searching until I finally had enough of suffering and decided to really, really seek answers. So where are we going to get into next? I've just got a little bit more notes on what I do, but I think I've covered all of that now. So yeah, we're ready. Let's jump in. So we've already done this about thinking about checking in with what we feel like when we wake up in the morning. And so very similar feelings for everybody. And what I want to do today is give you the tools to be able to snap out of what I call a mental spiral. So, you know, we actually have it as a joke in our house with my husband, where, you know, I'll be talking about something and he will be witnessing what I'm doing, and he'll literally be like, babe, I can tell you're falling into a mental spiral right now. You're spiraling. And I'm like, yeah, good point, I am spiraling. And what has changed everything for me is discovering this technique and then kind of evolving it through all the tools that I've learned and creating kind of my own version of it, the thing that works for me better than anything. And it allows me to snap out of that. And I can't tell you how much it amazes me how I will wake up thinking, no, nothing's going to shift this feeling today. There is no answer to this problem. And it doesn't matter what mindset work I do, because when you feel like this, you often don't feel like doing anything to make yourself feel better, because you're already exhausting yourself and zapping your willpower and your energy through your mental suffering. But when I do, and now of course I know it so well and it's so part of my life, there's not really any chance that I'll go, nah, I can't be bothered to do it. I wouldn't say you get to the point where you never feel like that. I would say there would be maybe 2% of the time where maybe it's just correlated with a hormonal time in my cycle where I'm like, you know what, I can't be bothered, I am just going to rest, and that is fine too. But that 98% of the time that I feel like that when I wake up and I do this, I cannot get over how quickly I literally witness those awful feelings just dissipate and the energy come back and the clarity and the strength. So this is why I'm so excited that you're here. Okie dokie. So, there's one other little flag I wanted to give you, which is this isn't the remedy for grief or extreme forms of mental suffering. With those cases, I actually don't recommend that you work through them straight away like I'm going to recommend in this case. Because when you're suffering in an extreme form, such as grief, or in, you know, an extreme form of emotional suffering, then what I actually recommend is that you allow those feelings. You actually feel them. It's important that you don't push those away, because they're not frippery, sort of ripply things. They're deep, and they are something that is causing sort of scar tissue in your heart, and you need to face them, feel them, move through all the stages. There'll be shock, there'll be grief, and they'll be coming to terms with the situation. So what we're here with today, though, is to deal with low-grade, constant background dread, overwhelm, pressure, that kind of thing, because those are the things that actually we usually suffer with for the longest amount of time, because we're often not even taught how to do this, and it just becomes a state that we live in. And it means that we're always living at a level way beneath what we have the potential to live at. And living down there somewhere where you're squashing down all these feelings and you're struggling means that you're just never going to fully blossom and thrive. And if you want a business, or you want to just feel really good in life, then you need to learn how to be able to get rid of that. So first up, I just want to share how your feelings are created. It's important, and those in my membership know this already, but it's always good to go over this. I go over this, you know, with myself every now and then, just to make sure that it is fully in there. So it's always good to go over this many times and make sure that it just becomes automatic in your head, so you don't have to look it up, and you just know this. Because once you understand how your feelings are created, you're going to start to get an emotional maturity that is going to feed into this work. So I am just going to bring up a quick, what's it called? A quick slide to show you it. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, folks, can you tell me, can you see a mindset map on the page in front of you? Like on the screen? Ah, someone says it sounds like Tony Robbins. It could be. I haven't ever studied Tony Robbins, but whenever I've heard like a podcast interview or anything, I am usually completely on board with what he says. So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is the thing, is that all the coaches out there that are really making a difference in the world seem to be taking areas from sort of, well, it goes back really to kind of like a lot of Western psychology mixed with Eastern philosophy and that kind of thing. And so, you know, teachers like Eckhart Tolle, Byron Katie, oh my gosh, there's so many, you know, we all tend to be feeding from the same kind of source and just creating what has like tools that have worked for us and then putting those out into the world. So they're all going to be pretty similar. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Robbins is kind of similar to that. Okie dokie. So I'm guessing, as there's nothing in the chat, that you can all see the mindset map. So what I just want to make sure that you understand about your thoughts is that, about your feelings in particular, is that they are a choice. And it's possibly going to seem like crazy if you've never heard this before, that how you feel is a choice, because we often blame our circumstances on how we feel. And we're like, well, I feel like this because this happened. Well, you know, I feel like this because they're doing that. They've made me feel like this. You know, it's not my fault. This happened and now this is how I feel. But what, you know, just changed everything for me was when I understood that we have our circumstance, and our circumstance is always a completely neutral thing. You can't get sassy with your circumstance. You got to just make it a neutral fact. Like, there isn't enough money to pay the bills. It's not, this happened to me. No, you know, you've got to make it neutral. So you've got your neutral circumstance. And then you have your thinking about that circumstance. And after that, your thinking will then create how you feel. And that's pretty obvious, isn't it? If I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have no money, I'm not going to pay the bills, I'm going to feel dreadful, overwhelmed, stressed, all those things. If my thinking is, it's going to be okay, I'm dealing with the bits that I can deal with, I'm having faith that the rest of it will be sorted out, I know that I am grown up, I have skills that I can offer, I am sensible. If you're having those kind of thoughts, your feeling is obviously going to be way calmer and you're going to feel much more clarity and calm and like you can cope. So bearing in mind that you obviously have your thinking creates how you feel, and then how you feel drives your behavior and your actions. And that bit's interesting, because again, if you're feeling overwhelmed and I can't cope and completely stressed out, how are you going to behave? You're not going to have clarity, are you? What most people do is they either procrastinate and do absolutely nothing that's going to make anything better, or they, oh, sorry, I can see that somebody has just added a thingy and it just knocked my concentration. Let me read this. I want to live on a tropical yoga retreat where it's low-grade background noise and it's a noise-free zone. I love that. I'm glad that I saw that then. So sorry. So you're obviously either going to procrastinate and get nothing done, or I've got the thought back now, you're going to buffer. So this is where people run into over drinking, overeating, over addiction with screens, over scrolling, all of those kind of things. So obviously, if your behavior is that, what's your outcome going to be? It's not going to be good, is it? It's just going to reinforce your original thought, which is that I'm overwhelmed and I'm not going to get out of this and it's all terrible. Whereas if your thinking is, like we talked about before, I can do this, I am sensible, I trust myself, I will take the necessary steps, I've got out of really awful things in the past and I was okay, then your feeling is going to be calm. Your behavior is going to be such that because you're calm, you're going to do the things that you know that you can do, the things that you can control. And you're probably going to also be in a mindset and a mind space where you can accept the things that you can't. What's your outcome? You're going to move things forward. So that is just what I want to tell you before we jump in. Right, let's get ready to jump in. I'm going to stop sharing that. And I'm just going to bring back my notes. Let me just check the chat box whilst I'm in between screens. That's all cool. Okie dokie. So the first thing I want to tell you before you start this, I'd like you to start doing this on your own every morning when you wake up, is that the best way to do this is to firstly wake up, and the moment that your eyes are opening and you are starting your day, I want you to notice what you're thinking and feeling. I want you to do a mental scan of what's going on, because it is much more likely that you'll never do that, and that you'll wake up, you will instantly, unconsciously feel feelings of dread, stress, all that kind of thing, and you will just get yourself out of bed or turn over or think about something else, because we don't want to deal with discomfort. Of course, the problem with that is it never goes away, and you live on top of it, and you live, like I'm kind of explaining, like down here. I've got to find a word to explain down here. I guess it means you're living, you know, at like, I don't know, maybe 30% of your potential, because it's squashing you, because your feelings are, you know, really, because you're really struggling emotionally. And so I'd like to encourage you to do that firstly. And then either go somewhere, go to a quiet room on your own. Like if my children aren't awake, I will creep downstairs and come down to my studio. If people are awake, and maybe my husband's beaten me and got out of bed before me, and I'm like, dang, I haven't got the downstairs to myself, then I will do this in bed. So, you know, maybe make sure that you've got a journal and a pen next to your bed before you go to sleep. And so very quickly, before you've really got into anything, and you might need, this might require you to get up a little earlier than usual, but I promise you it is worth it. I would say an hour, ideally, half an hour would help, even 5 minutes would help you. And you can do this, you know, like I've said, like in bed, so you're not disturbing children or anything, you know, try not to sort of like wake people up, because if you can do this with no interruptions from other people, great. Again, another reason to get up early, so the phone might not ring and that kind of thing. And then before you absolutely start this process of what we're going to do right now, I want you to just take a few deep breaths to center yourself and to land in your body and set that intention of, I'm here to do the work to feel better. So in fact, let's just do it right now, because normally I do this before I start my classes. But I completely forgot today. So let's just take a couple of deep breaths on our own. We're just going to take maybe 4 deep breaths in. I want you to breathe in on your own, maybe hold a breath for a couple of counts and exhale slowly, and just do it 4 times on your own. And I'm going to do it as well. And cross your legs if you found that, like me, you're sort of sitting in a slightly tense position. Gosh, already I just feel so much calmer and more connected. And this is the space, the mental space and the physical space that you want to be in before trying to do any of this work. Because when you are calmed and you've done some breath work, you're literally connecting your brain or your mind with your heart space. And that is super important for the kind of work that we want to do. You need to be connecting with what's going on in here and up here. So this is what I want you to do first. I want you to empty your head. I want you to take 5, I'll tell you how many minutes. 5 minutes always sounds short, and then it feels like it's forever when you do these kind of things live. Just want you to take a couple of minutes to write down all the thoughts that are disempowering you right now, the disempowering thoughts you have, negative thoughts, what is going on in the background most of the time. Okay, heads down, pens down, write on a piece of paper what your thoughts are. Just write them out line after line. I'll get the chat box open in case anybody's got any questions, but get started and I'll give you a couple of minutes to do this. I'll give you 1 more minute. You're doing really well. Okay, just finish what you're writing. Last sentence. Well done. Awesome. First of all, it usually makes me feel so much better just to get it on paper. Are you guys feeling like a little bit more relief? Like it's out now. Now you can deal with it. Because when it's just swimming around in your head, it tends to appear a bit like you're looking through a magnifying glass. Like everything is worse, everything is bigger, and there's way more going on inside there than you think. The number of times I write it all down, I think, okay, there is stuff, but it's not as much as I thought it was. And already I can usually start to pick solutions to things and see what the real problem is. So well done for being brave and getting that all out. Even that is therapeutic. Now, I want you now to pick one of those thoughts. Any thought, it doesn't matter. And I want you to, your next space on whatever you're writing in, I want you to write the feeling. I want you to write the feeling, semicolon, and write down the feeling. Pick a feeling out of all of those thoughts and feelings that you've just written down. I want you to write down a feeling that you're feeling. And then underneath that, I want you to write, I'm going to share a screen of what this is going to look like. It's the next page from here. Behave. No, it wasn't that. Sorry, stop sharing that, Kia. It was the other one. Yeah, because underneath that, I want you then to write the thought, semicolon. And I'm just going to show you kind of what we're building up to here. I would if it was open. Hang on. It is open. It's being silly. Let me try that again. Because we're going to be creating a list, basically, of all of the sort of, what am I trying to say? It's because I'm doing something else at the same time. This, can you see this? We're going to be creating a list of the feeling, semicolon. Then we're going to write down the thought that creates that feeling. So you don't need to write those things underneath, but I'm just letting you know kind of where we're going with this. So visually, you've got a sense of what you're going to be writing in your journal. So back to, actually, I'll leave that up there because that might be useful for you guys. I'll go back to my notes. So you've written the feeling. You've written one of those feelings from everything that you just tumbled out of your mind. And then underneath that, I want you to write one of the thoughts that is creating that feeling. Now, it can be tempting at this point to give up and to say, and just push this away and go, I don't know what the thought is that is creating that feeling. But that is a lie that you'll be telling to yourself, because your brain won't want to do this. Your brain will sense that, oh gosh, we're going to do something vulnerable here, and it will push it away, even though it's going to help you enormously. So if you just sit quietly and truly search within, you will find the answer. So take a minute now to write down and think about, what am I thinking that creates that feeling? And write that down next to the thought semicolon bit. Okie dokie. Okay, so now underneath that, you're going to write, is that really true? Question mark, semicolon. Okay, so now you've got the feeling, you've got the thought that's creating that feeling. Now we are going to challenge that thinking for the validity of it here, and we're going to uncover the actual facts. Now, there is a chance that it will be true, and we'll come back to that in a moment, but quite often our thinking has just basically been a result of our brain trying to protect us, and it's gone into overdrive and it's overdoing its job, and it's kind of like, you know, running around like with a megaphone. It's gone over the top. And so when we actually look at the facts, quite often we find that actually the truth is quite different from the thought that we've been having. So just park it if it's like this thought is 100% true. But if not, go through these steps. Why does this thought really hurt? I mean, I'm just going to give you some questions. Obviously, you would, once you get used to this process, pick the questions that are appropriate. But because I can't see what's on your paper and you'll all have a myriad of different things, then if this kind of question, I'm going to read out a few questions, and if any of the questions are not relevant, just ignore them and find one that does work. So questions that you can use to challenge the validity of that statement are things like, is it really true? Why does this really hurt? What are you really upset about? Or what really is the problem? Could it be that you're cross with yourself and you just want to be ruthlessly honest here? It takes courage to really find the facts here and see things for the absolute truth. And this is quite often where the breakthrough lies. So really think about this. And when you're ready, write down your response to, is this really true? Okay, so once you have written something next to the is that really true line, you can write underneath that the facts, semicolon. I'll just give you a few more seconds to get to that point. Okay, so are you ready? All right, so next up, you've got the facts, semicolon. Now I want you to write down answers to these kind of questions. Again, ignore the questions that aren't relevant, and the ones that are, use those. What is the real issue here? Deep down, what do you feel the real issue is? Okay, and another question you can ask yourself is this circumstance presenting you with an opportunity to grow or learn a lesson? Like, these are really brave questions. When I ask myself these questions like, is this an opportunity for me to learn a lesson? I'm often really shocked by, oh my goodness, this circumstance keeps cropping up in my life, and it's because I'm avoiding dealing with a part of my character, my personality, which I'm not that proud of, which I know I need some help with. I know I need to learn some lessons and change some of my ways. It might be that you need to get more, well, for me, a big one was I needed to learn how to advocate for myself and be assertive. And instead of blaming the fact that I didn't want to be around certain people because they caused me so much stress, I realized the actual problem when I did this work was that I didn't want to stand up for myself. So I blamed them for making me feel stressed, when actually the simple fact was that these people are quite controlling. My feeling is that I'm totally stressed to be around them. I'm overwhelmed. I feel completely uncomfortable. And, you know, it's all their fault and I don't want to be around them and they're awful people. And then when I realized, oh, the fact is, I just need to stand up for myself and have a boundary, then I had my answer. And so that changed this mindset map. It then became, this is the circumstance. My thinking about it is, this is my opportunity to learn how to advocate for myself and I need to set boundaries. How am I going to do that? I'm going to do it this way. How did I then feel? I felt empowered and I felt calm. What was my action? I then began to deal with the circumstance. And then the result was I didn't have that as a problem anymore. So keep going with what are the facts. Some other questions you could ask yourself are, the reason I'm cross or hurting or struggling is actually, and fill in the blank. Okay, I think have you guys had enough time to do that? Let me know if you're ready. I can see some people looking up. Okie dokie. So let's move on. And if you've got any bits where you feel you could go further on this, then when we get off the call, go back to it and keep going. Okay, so lastly, we're now going to find a new thought, an empowering thought, because remember, we cannot change our circumstances, but we can change our thinking. And when we change our thinking, we change how we feel, which drives how we behave, which creates the results we have in our life. So this is the most important part, which is why I took you through the mindset map technique to begin with, so that you understand why this bit about your new thinking is critical. So, a new thought. How do we come up with a new thought? Well, basically, you need to come up with something that is empowering and that you truly believe. This cannot be an affirmation that is completely made up or a mantra that you absolutely don't believe. You're not trying to trick yourself into having a good thought. You are truly finding the facts and calmly finding a better feeling thought. So you're looking for a thought that when you think it, you're like, yeah, I feel better now. So you're basically going to turn the facts into a short statement that you will turn back to, and you will use it to remind yourself when those sneaky old thoughts will try to reappear, because they will, because you literally have grooves in your brain that make you think in a pattern. As somebody mentioned, NLP, you know, you will, I think that's what NLP is about anyway. But I know that you will, from the neuroscience work that I have done, you will have grooves in your brain which make it that your automatic pattern will be to have the same kind of thoughts that you always have. So this is why it is so important to have a statement that you come back to every single time. So, I mean, at the very least, you can have a statement which is, I accept what is. And actually, this is the one that I was talking about. We would come back to, if your answer to the question, is it true? If your answer was yes, it's true. Then when you come to figuring out an empowering statement for that. If you have an awful circumstance and you're thinking about it is 100% true, you haven't overinflated anything, you haven't spiraled, panicked, put it under a magnifying glass and made it, you know, a bit more sort of dramatic than it really is. If it really is that bad, then this is the opportunity to create an empowering statement, which is along the lines of, I accept what is. Because we know that if we try to argue with reality, we're going to lose every single time. So all you can do in those sort of situations is work on acceptance, because it's often this resistance we have to what is that causes so much of our suffering. Like, I can't accept that. We often say that, and no, I can't get my head around that. I'm not going to be okay. But if you can create a statement which is, I accept what is, I accept the facts, and I accept myself. I don't need to be anything that I am. Yeah, and anything that I am, anything other than I am. That is one that I use all the time. When my inner critic wants to, you know, beat me up a bit and make me feel really rubbish, I remind myself, I can only be where I'm at. I can only be at the stage where I have learned what I've learned. I can't be further ahead until I've done the learning. And if I knew something and I hadn't done it by now, it's because I didn't know how to actually do the thing I knew that I needed to do. That's a really critical one. We often blame people and blame ourselves, thinking you knew how to be better. But the truth is that if you knew how to actually do the being of being better, you would have done it, and other people would. But there is often this little bit in between where you know what you need to do, you literally just don't know how to do what you know you need to do. And so having huge compassion for yourself and treating yourself with love and kindness, and just simply accepting the facts and accepting where you are, where you're at, and that you're willing to slowly move in the direction of something which is going to support you and empower you, is the best thing that you can do. It's really the only thing that you can do. Your only other choice then is just to stay stuck and keep beating yourself up. And we know that that doesn't get us anywhere, and it's not going to change our behavior. It's just going to create the same results we've always had. So that's to circle back to that last bit of, what do you do when, you know, it is true? You can't really, there isn't a different fact. You've already found the facts and it's horrible. Accept what is, allow what is, and give yourself enormous compassion for that. So I thought I would finish off with just showing you 2 examples of me working through that and showing you how I've turned things around. Because I don't know if anybody is struggling at all with turning the facts around, but I'll just bring those up now. So I'm going to, no, I don't need to stop share. I'm already sharing it. Okay. It's a bit small. Hopefully that's a bit bigger for you guys. So these are some thoughts that I've had in the last couple of weeks, and some feelings. The feeling was overwhelming anxiety when I woke up. And when I did the work around what am I thinking, I thought everything is uncertain and I cannot control what is going on in my life. I just hated that feeling of everything has just gone crazy in the world, and I just have to accept this. You know, I feel overwhelmed and I feel a bit anxious about this. And so I asked myself, is that true? And in that case, it was yes, it's true. I cannot control everything that is going on in my life. And it is true that everything is uncertain. So then I looked at the facts, and I had a really interesting realization, and you'll get really good at this when you start doing this. I realized, is that new though? Because I never could control everything before. I never could control everything. Nothing ever was certain in my life. The only difference is that this is happening we're experiencing a worldwide matching uncertainty. We're all facing the same thing, and we're hearing about that uncertainty and being reminded of our uncertainty like 20 times a day, which is creating the overwhelm and the anxiety. And it's creating the thoughts in response to what's going on around me about, oh gosh, yeah, everything is uncertain. I've forgotten about that for a second. Oh gosh, I can't control everything. So then when I looked at the facts that I never could control anything and everything anyway, then I created a new thought, which was, the world has always been uncertain. I have got through tons of things in the past that I didn't think I could get through at the time, that felt totally overwhelming, and I was enormously suffering from anxiety over. But the truth is, the fact is, I did get through them, and they've actually made me stronger. And weirdly, I'm not weirdly, it sounds weird, but it's true. I'm 100% grateful for those things, because I wouldn't be the woman I am today, who has the experience that I have, that has made me as strong as I am, if I hadn't have had those experiences, which were horrible. Also, my new thought is, I will be okay this time as well. And I allow what is going on in the world and how it is impacting my life, which it absolutely is. And I know I'm resilient. I have proof of that. And I know I'm capable. Even though my mind and my inner critic wants to tell a different story, I know that's not true. And my new finishing thought is, I will figure this out. And so when you feel that way, obviously my actions are going to be completely different from when my thought was, everything's uncertain, I can't control what's going on in my life, and I feel overwhelmed and anxious. Whereas when you just get the facts and you calm everything down and you get ruthlessly honest about the facts, and you look at it from the standpoint of, I'm not going to fantasize about the worst case scenario for the future. I'm just going to remind myself the only thing that is certain is right now, this second that I'm alive and awake right now. Calms everything down. And this is the thing that will immediately start to allow you to experience those feelings, those horrible feelings, to dissipate before your eyes. It feels incredible. So I'm going to take you into the next one. I woke up a few days ago. I'd heard this on the internet somewhere, and then of course it got into my head, which is that we should be worrying and feeling pressure that we're not going to have enough food and that we're going to run out of food. So now, we've all tried to not stockpile. We've all dealt with food shortages, and we've all done our best to try and look after ourselves and perhaps people, if we live with people, to make sure that we kind of have enough. And then for the media to put into our heads that you might run out of food. I woke up the other day feeling worried and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm trying to self-isolate. What do I do here? Do I have to go shopping again? I'm trying to not go shopping. And so I was feeling worry and pressure. So when I did this work and I went, is it true? Is it true that is this thought true that I might run out of food? And I suddenly thought, actually, it's pretty unlikely I'm going to run out of food. The supermarkets are now stocked again. There is enough food. There might not always be eggs and that kind of thing, but there is enough food in the supermarkets now. And in fact, the truth of the matter is that I could leave right now, go to a supermarket and buy food. It's just that I'm choosing not to, because right now I have enough food and I want to obey, in a word, what we're being told to do, which is to stay in until you really do need to go and get some food, or you want some exercise or whatever. So when I looked at that, well, hang on, actually, we only have today again. Go back to that thought. We only have right now. I don't have 3 weeks' time. There's no certainty that I'll be here in 3 weeks' time. So why should I be worrying about it? The fact is, today I have enough food and I can go out and buy food if I need to. So then my new thought became, I've got my eye on everything. I've got my eye on the media, on the news, on the state of the supermarkets, on the online shopping slots that aren't available. I've got my eye on everything. And I've also got my eye on how much food I have in my house. So I trust that I will take action when I need to. And so it's highly unlikely I'm going to starve and die, because that's usually the end thing of what we're worried about. Our brain usually wants to tell a story that if any of this happens, we're going to starve and die. So when you actually just acknowledge that, like, I'm not going to, it's highly unlikely, I'm okay, then suddenly there's no problem. So again, when I did the work, I suddenly went, oh, I just felt that dissipate and just go away. now I can get on with my day. And, you know, I'll just take you guys off the share for now. Where is it? Stop share. And just bring up my notes. So, you know, how are you finding this? Let me know in the comments. Has this helped? Because, you know, this is really new for me, teaching this part of the tools that I use all the time. But because they change my life and they make me feel instantly better and they create a completely different day as a result, I just felt like I have to do this workshop and put this out there. So let me know, how have you found this? Pop it in the comments and I'll bring the chat box back up. Oh, I can see there have been some things actually. Oh yeah, wow, waking up with mortality on your mind. That's a biggie. It's a real biggie, that one. Do you wake up and think the same thing a lot of mornings? What if you think the same thing each morning? Yeah, if you have got a presiding thought, is that the right word? If you've got like basically a thought that you think a lot, then definitely, you know, do not stop until you have done this work and found the answers. Like I said, it's hard to find these answers. It takes work. And the more that you do it, the better that you get. Like to begin with, when I started this, I would struggle sometimes and just go, no, I can't really find the answer to this, but I kept going with it. And then the days that I'd have these eureka moments where I'm like, I cannot believe I have just overcome a thought that I've had for 35 years or something that has seriously held me back, and written it down. And, you know, the really important thing is that once you've written this down, like I've said, you go back to it a lot. If it is a thought that's a big deal for you and you have created a new empowering thought, write it down like I always show you guys. I mean, I'm looking for them now, but I have, you know, things everywhere that remind me of the big thoughts that I need to be thinking all the time. And it's only by positively reinforcing something which is empowering, which you 100% believe, that it will change. And it really does change your thinking. So yeah, I mean, mine has always been, like I said, dread. My feeling in the morning has been dread of, what have I got to fear today? Because I had a job for so long that caused me so much anxiety because of my thinking about it, of course, and because of my choice, which was telling myself that I had to do this job I hated and that it was worth it, even though it's so ridiculous, because it's never worth, you know, having health problems as a result of a job. There are other jobs out there. That, yeah, you know, it's totally normal to wake up every day with the same thought. So just keep working on it and you will get an answer. I can see there's more things. I've got chickens. I'm vegan now. Amazing. I get writer's block in the mornings. It's easier to talk this stuff through when you're struggling. Like with a coach called Kia, it really is. Doing this kind of stuff one-to-one is hugely helpful. It's how I started. I started learning all this stuff with a coach of my own. I saw her for, I think she said it was going to be between about 6 and 8 sessions. And it did sort itself out after about 6 sessions. And I chose to see her a few more times. And then any time that I have had an overwhelming new big thing that I've needed to tackle, then I've gone back to her for a few sessions. So yeah, doing this one-to-one with someone is perfect. It's the best way. Doing this on your own is the next best bet. So, I mean, I do one-to-ones. If anybody watching this now or on a replay is wondering that, because I get that question all the time, then yes, I do one-to-ones where we do exactly this kind of work. I cover everything, obviously, that I teach, which is everything from how to use Instagram School to how to connect with your inner creativity to all the mindset stuff. I have got a link that I will share with you guys for that you can save or what have you, which takes you to the page for booking one-to-ones with me. I have an hourly rate, and I also have an offer where if you want to book 3 coaching sessions in a row, then you pay a little bit less by sort of paying up front for 3. So there's that too. And then obviously I cover this kind of stuff inside my membership. So my membership is the most financially accessible way to work with me. I wanted there to be something for somebody who is struggling but can't quite invest in themselves, or don't feel, you know, there's usually a self-worth thing about that, because I certainly couldn't afford my coach when I started. But anyway, I wanted there to be a more financially viable option. So there is my £27 a month group coaching membership, which is created with creatives in mind, for creative women who want to know how to do what they love. We have weekly sessions in it. The first week of every month is a mindset session. Second week is a creativity session, how to connect to what is in here. You don't need to be creative to get things out of that. That is really about connecting with your intuition and your gut, so that you can learn how to create what is truly inside you and put that out into the world. The third week of the month, I give a portion of Instagram School away, my online school, to understand how to use how to use Instagram to let the world know that you exist. It's kind of a marketing business online school, and you can only get hold of that inside the membership. And then the fourth week of the month, we have a live Q&A call, a bit like this, where people can get critiques, sit on a hot spot, ask questions, and all those kind of things. So as that kind of came up, then just so you know, that's an option if you want to take this deeper and if you're serious about doing this. I'll just look at some more of the comments. I'm the queen of procrastinating, so this thought process is really helpful. I'm so pleased. You reminded me that it is not me, it is the patterns I learned so I can change them. That is it. When you stop identifying with your life and your brain and thinking that's you, when you stop that and realize, well, who is the person that is witnessing this, my brain thinking? Your brain can't witness your brain thinking. Your brain's thinking. It's, you know, it gets a little bit kind of woo there, but it's true. When you start to lose that identification with, I am my mistakes, I am my life, I am my thinking, and you realize that, you know, you're simply witnessing all of that in your human experience, then it just takes away so much of the suffering that we create from being so identified with the facts in our lives. It's amazing. That's like a whole other topic. I just realized that I'm a work in progress. Oh, that's beautiful, Gillian. Rather than not knowing who or what I am, this has made me feel instantly better. Thank you, Kia. I am so happy. This is just, once you get these tools and they change your life like they have with mine, it feels like a calling now. I feel obligated in the most positive, wonderful, energizing way to tell people about this, because it's kind of, it would be like walking past starving children with loads of food and not giving it to them. You'd be like, I can help. All I want to do, that's the most important thing. So hearing that just makes me so happy, because that's the point of life, I think, is to go through troubling times, overcome them, and share how you did that with the people that are struggling in the same way. It's so helpful to have a strategy. I'm definitely going to use this. Yes, Caroline, love that. Well done. And I am waiting for someone to tell me that I can do it. So I'm waiting instead of doing. I know what to focus on and start journaling in the mornings. Thank you. Oh, yes. Do it in the morning, guys. Seriously, do it. Not text me, I've got my number. DM me on Instagram and tell me that you've done this. I want to know, and I'm going to seriously cheerlead you privately. I can do it publicly if you want, but I am going to cheerlead you. You let me know when you've done this in the morning, and I am going to be literally doing circles around my bedroom of dancing, because I'm that happy that you guys are going to give this a go and ease your own suffering. Because when we start to realize, heck, I'm creating most of my suffering, it's mind-blowing. Yes, you have your circumstances. We can never change the past. We can't change what people have done to us. We can't change what we've been at the mercy of. And, you know, when we were innocent, when we were children, we can't change any of that. But when we realize that a lot of our suffering now is connected to what has happened either in the past or is happening right now, because we are identifying with it so much, and we realize that we control what we think, and we can find an empowering way to respond to our circumstances. It's amazing. What is the difference between coaching and therapy? Great question. I think there would be, I think every coach and therapist would have a slightly different answer to this. In my experience, therapy often deals with the past. It's it's like, oh, this is the reason why you are the way you are. Tell me about it. Coaching is none of that. Coaching is recognizing kind of what I just said, actually, that all those traumas and things are the facts, and you only need to go into your history to fact check. So just go grab a fact, bring it out. That's my circumstance. What coaching is dealing with right now. It's saying, I know all these things happened, but what you need, the answer right now is to decide how you're going to think about it today. What is your response to all of that today? And how have you been responding to that for however many years or however timeline it's been since the particular circumstance that's causing you a lot of pain happened? It might even be just yesterday. But what are you going to do? What are you going to think now about that? So that's the difference. Therapy often excavates and keeps going back, and I don't really find that helps anybody. Coaching goes, we don't need to go there. Let's deal with how you're going to think about it now. It's amazing. That's why I love it so much. I know what to focus on. Wonderful. I do Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. Oh, wonderful. So do I. And I was just telling my members of my membership, I think just yesterday, how in fact, I've actually got my laptop on the book right now, which is why I can't show you it. How I dip in and out of doing it. It's so useful. I don't know how I've only ever done, probably at this point, like 8 of their little sessions, and there's loads in there. I think it's 12 lots of daily exercises, but it's amazing. And of course, this is almost quite similar, because with morning pages morning pages are something the Artist's Way book encourages you to do, and morning pages are about emptying your head in the morning, and that is something that I also do, and that also ends up usually being a source of a lot of my inner wisdom comes out when I do that. It can get quite spiritual and beautiful and supportive. This is specifically dealing with your thinking and the things that are bothering you, so I kind of do like a mishmash of both, really. Okie dokie, let me see, was there anything else I was going to tell you? I don't think there was. I just want to make sure that, let me just share one more screen with you guys. Share screen, go back to where we were, Keynote. So I just wanted to invite you guys, if anybody does really want to take this work deeper, oh gosh, and I should tell you as well, but right, if you want to take this work deeper, you've got 2 choices. We've talked about them already. You can book a one-to-one with me and go into this work much deeper, or anything else that I can help you with. There's a ton of stuff I can help you with on your well-being, creativity, and Instagram for business. But also, you might want to think about joining my membership. Some of my members are on here now. Maybe you can share in the comments what you're getting out of the membership. That would be really, really useful for people to actually hear from other members, and perhaps, how it's helped you. So in my membership next month, I've got a really exciting announcement. Because of everything that's going on in the world, I want to be there to support my members even more than usual, because this is a crazy time. We're at home a lot more, and a lot of us are trying to help ourselves, like you guys watching this replay now or live on this call right now. So I thought I am just going to treat you, and I'm going to add to the membership 4 weeks of live calls. You only usually get 1 live call with me a month, but I'm going to add 4 weeks of live coaching calls on imposter syndrome, because I was recently thinking about doing an accelerator program, and I had talks with so many different women over the last few weeks from all over the world, and I couldn't believe how the number one thing that came out of those calls was that they knew what they needed to do, they knew what they wanted me to teach them, but they already knew they probably wouldn't do it because they didn't feel good enough, they didn't feel worthy, they felt that people would judge them, they didn't know how to deal with that judgment, and this overwhelming feeling of not being good enough was just shutting them down. And it's a topic I've really wanted to do inside the membership. So I think, look, we're all, home. Let's do something that's let me help you in one more area that I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but let me help you in another area and also have lovely live time together, because it's, you know, we need extra connection at this time where we're all in our houses. And let's do the one thing that means that when we get out of this and we get back out into the world, you are going to be super set up and ready, because you will have dealt with that huge part which tells you that you can't do any of the things that I'm teaching you anyway, because you don't think you're good enough. So we're going to be adding that in. It's going to start next week, and it's going to be alternate Mondays and Tuesdays. Everything will obviously be recorded if people can't join live. All of that information is going to go into the membership tomorrow, and I will do a new message from Kia video on the homepage inside the membership tomorrow, telling you the dates, and all the dates will be added into the homepage. So if you want to join, that is the first link at the top, which is kiacannons.com/happy. We weren't meant to open the doors yet. We were planning on opening them in May, but because of everything going on, I just feel like people need community and that sense of connection and tools now more than ever. And we also have, so basically, I shouldn't forget to tell you, the doors close at midnight UK time tomorrow, so there's not long to get in. And also we've just started a free brand new private Instagram account, so that I can talk to the members directly and we can get more support there. And we've only just started. I don't know about the members that are on right now, but I'm really enjoying that. I kind of can't believe that I didn't think of doing this sooner, because I am loving getting that extra connection, and also it means that I can filter down and just see what you're doing, which is really nice. So so there's that as well. And then of course you can see there's a Calendly link where you can just directly book into my calendar if you want a one-to-one. I can see that there are some chats going on. Let me catch up with those. It's been really helpful to have regular check-ins. Yeah, definitely. Regular check-ins and accountability, and keeping focused on what you're trying to do in your life, and having a support from someone or from a group of people is so critical. It really does make all the difference. So yeah, I'm really glad that you're feeling that way, because I agree, it makes all the difference. Karen, that sounds amazing. Thanks, Kia. That's fine. Need to discuss it. No problem at all. Go away and have a think about it. That's great. Looking forward to that. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to delivering the imposter syndrome stuff. It's super important. And I think doing it like week by week, that'll be really fun as well, to kind of see how that goes, because you guys can go away, do the mindset stuff, and then come back the next week and go, okay, this is where I'm struggling, or can I get some clarification on this or that, or what have you. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And if anybody is watching this and you have just missed the doors closing to the membership, just drop me a DM, because I really do want to be able to welcome as many people into this as possible, and we'll see if we can do something, because I'm aware that people may not watch the replay within less than 24 hours. So just putting that out there as well. All right, guys, well done tonight. I'm so proud of you. You know, made time. It's a, you know, an evening here. It's getting on, and you have made time for yourself, and you've prioritized your well-being. And I am, let me just take it off screen shares. I say goodbye to you so you can see me properly. And I'm just super proud of you for taking time to do this. It's the work. It is work, but my goodness, it's worth it. So big love, and I will see members inside our private Instagram group and inside the membership. And if anybody's watching this who isn't, I would love to welcome you into the membership soon. I can see there's another chat. Thank you. You're very welcome, Joe. And Gillian had to go now. Summertime. Have a wonderful dinner. That sounds great. All right, guys. I'm going to let you go. Let me figure out how to do this. Very valuable. Oh, I'm so pleased. Thank you for joining us. It's been lovely having you on the call, and I loved your jokes. All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.